I'm only yards up the road there with all fields around me and the sea 5 minutes away. What do I want to have houses? I wouldn't want to see houses up there.
If we don't get youngsters into the village is going to die.
There isn't a great deal of work here. The marsh has changed dramatically over the last 20 years, purely and simply because of industrialisation. Ashford has suddenly become the place to live in the southeast of England. And people have realised that the ghettos around Ashford are only 25 minutes from lovely little places like Lydd and New Romney and Romney Marsh.
I think the main need is for affordable housing for families, so we can bring young families back into the area and they can stay here, especially ones perhaps who've got connection to the village and want to stay, but obviously priced out of the market.
I think they're very much the problems of all very small rural communities: lack of shops, lack of facilities, the fact that we all depend on cars, that we have to go enormous distances, really. It's sort of 5 miles each way to the nearest post office.
Romney Marsh, it's a unique place, devolved of small but very tightly knit communities.
We wanted to live in a village, but there was nowhere here to rent or buy, so we had to sort of move out.
It's not for people to come from out of town, Londoners and so forth, and buy up all the properties and then just come down for weekends, and that's what kills the village off.
Holiday people tend to pay more for a let. It squeezes out the locals anyway.
Most of the villages have a need for low-cost housing.
When I got married, I had to move away because we couldn't afford a property in the village.
I do know there's a distinct lack in this area of starter homes.
The prices in the village are quite substantial. I think that problem will get worse because with the bringing of the high-speed link from Ashford to London, you'll probably find, there are more and more commuters who want to live in the country.
Demand far outstrips supply, especially at the lower end of the market.
We could probably do with a few more houses, but if we're not careful, we're going to tip the balance the other way, and it's very difficult indeed.
I have 3 grown-up children. 2 have married and moved away, and that's the problem. They would like to live here but can't afford to. One still living at home because he can't afford to move away.
There are people living concealed households within, you've got sort of 2 families living under one roof. On a place like the Marsh, you've often got people using mobile homes. It's a sort of a way they can get round things, but there are lots of planning restrictions on that, and so consequently they're living in quite poor housing conditions.
There are very, very, very few houses now, semi-detached, detached, ex-local authority, that you'd get for under £120,000 to £140,000. Now, the average person earning £25,000 a year just does not earn enough to actually qualify for a mortgage unless they've got a substantial deposit. How do you raise a substantial deposit, apart from gifting from parents and this sort of thing? That is what's causing the real problems here on the Marsh.
We're going around in circles, aren't we? Because on the one hand we're saying putting up more homes is going to be difficult, but at the same time we're saying more people need them.
We need more 3-bedroom houses rather than 2-bedroom. The young couple goes into a 2-bedroom house and they want to start a family. Well, they can only have 1 child in a 2-bedroom house. And the next one comes along, where do they put it?
The housing needs survey that we carried out in Dymchurch identified a need for 44 mixed houses, covering young single people, young families and elderly. But the way the formula works is that you're allowed a quarter of that to make sure that those houses are occupied all the time.
I've just been asked about if there's need more houses down here. In my opinion, no. I don't think so. There's the odd plot that would look nice down near New Beach because it's a horrible bit of land there, and I think that would look nice with some nice houses along. But apart from that, it's lovely country all behind us and the sea here. I would not like to see any more houses down here. That's the point I moved down here, away from it. So it's you got more out with the sea here and everything else. It's nicer.
We do need starter houses in some ways for the younger people, but big problem here is that we don't have the facilities to cope with those houses. We don't have
drainage, we don't have mains gas, we don't, and so it goes on.
This is my home, this is where I was brought up, this is where everything I know is, this is where all my friends are, where my family are, and it's just home to me, it's just all I know, it's what I'm comfortable with, it's what I enjoy.
The first thing that nobody has done, which I feel ought to be done, is to actually listen to the local people. The most important thing is listening. And then once they've listened, action.